Trust. Firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Bruh. I know I'm late with this one, but the movie They Clone Tyrone, it came out a few weeks ago after all the Jamie Foxx stuff. I thought it was a good movie personally, and I recommend you check it out. And I might have some spoilers in this video, I don't know, maybe. But I just want to talk about a few concepts in the movie that I noticed that parallel so well with real life, right? Fuck yes! The whole concept of cloning, right? In the movie, in the context of the movie, cloning just shows a cycle, right? We see the main character, Fontaine. He wakes up every single day. He lifts weights with his homeboys. He goes to the corner store, buys a lottery ticket, buys the liquor. He's outside all the time because he's a dope boy. He's a drug dealer. He does the same cycle day after day after day, every single day. And nothing changes. He doesn't learn anything new. He doesn't experience anything new. It's just the same thing. And then, of course, in the movie, the actions take place where he ends up getting dealt with, right? The main character, Fontaine, gets dealt with. And, in real life, that's it. But in the movie, he was cloned. And the clone wakes up the next day with no knowledge of what happened the day previous. All he knows is everything that's been placed right in front of him. Everything that he was told to know. So it's the same cycle every day, the same hood mentality, the same poverty mindset, right? Nothing changes, nothing grows, nothing gets better. It's just the same cycle over and over again. And every time a clone dies, another one comes and take place and just repeats the same cycle, right? And how this parallels with real life, right? Just think of generations that live in poverty areas, right? That live in the hood, right? And each generation, one generation, they get together, they have kids, they raise their kids in the same environment, in the same poverty, right? Those kids grow up with the same mindset that the parents had, and those kids grow up and they have kids and raise their kids with the same mindset. So it's the same cycle over and over and over again. Nobody learns anything new. Nobody experiences anything new, right? And the cloning aspect in the movie is just a fast forward version of that. It's an instant replacement version of that, right?
And it goes on and on and on and on, non-stop.
Now I want to get into the characters, right? Because each main character in real life would be people that are not the most credible. Like the three main characters is a drug dealer, a pimp, and a HOE, right? A 304, whatever you want to call it. And it's also a character named Frog, which is the old dude that sits outside of the gas station all day. We all seen those people in real life, right? We seen the old dude that sit outside the gas station all day and just say wild stuff. Well, in the context of the movie, that old dude Frog, he would say a lot of stuff that wouldn't make sense right away. Whole time, no matter how crazy he looked, no matter how out of touch he seemed, he was speaking the most knowledge. He was the most wise in the movie. Without him, a lot of stuff wouldn't have got figured out, right? And that just parallels so much with real life because it's people out here that look crazy, that sound crazy, that might actually be crazy, but when they speak, they saying some real stuff.
I'm just keeping it 1,000 wild. You feel me? Like, you gotta understand what certain people are like. What is their intention? What is the intention behind that shit?
We got to preserve and conserve the goodness of who we once were, who we used to be, and even who we are right now before we just go completely bad. We're not completely bad yet, homie.
When you look at them, you don't think of them as being the most credible source of information. You don't trust them right away with learning something new, right? Just like in the movie with the three main characters. Fontaine, the drug dealer, Jamie Foxx character, the pimp, and the other girl that played the 304, right? It's nothing you could learn from them except for how to be a drug dealer, a pimp, or a 304, right? That's the only area that they have credibility in. But They're the three main characters in the movie that end up being the heroes. And when they go and find out something that's completely abnormal that's going on right underneath them, right under their noses, and when they go out and try to tell people, they look crazy, right? After, Fontaine, the pimp, and the 304, right? This after they found the underground lab underneath the trap house, and they come back up and they freaked out, right? They scared because they like, bro, what did we just witness, bro? Like, we just witnessed something crazy and not normal, right? So next day, Fontaine, he gathers his friends and they go back to the trap house, right? No questions asked, right? Whatever he was with, they was with, right? They was ready to slide, right? So they went to the trap house and he was trying to show them the elevator in the underground lab under the trap house, but when they got back, it was gone, right? So Fontaine was the only one in that group that actually seen it. His homeboys now looking at him like he crazy and he lost his mind because he's speaking on something, but it's no evidence, it's no proof, right? It's no immediate evidence or immediate proof. Now Fontaine looks crazy. His homeboys don't know what's going on because what he just tried to do was show them something that he witnessed that you would literally have to see to believe. Otherwise, you're not going to believe it. So they turned it into a joke and said, you just need some water. It's in the water. Like Frost said, it's in the water. He was like, you just need some water. We can get through this. You just need some water. Fontaine just got upset and said, forget it, man. And drove off, right? And then the next scene, right? The other scene that parallels with real life, and I'm gonna get to my point, is when they tried to expose what was going on right underneath their noses, and they ended up getting caught. And Fontaine had to make a choice, right? He had to choose either fight against what's going on or fall in line and play your role, right? And at first he chose to fall in line and play his role because he knew he was up against something that was much greater and much bigger than him. So he said, I'm gonna just fall in line, right? And they show like a montage scene of him trying to continue living his life with this knowledge, right? He learned something new. He learned what was really going on right underneath his nose. And now he's surrounded by a bunch of people who are ignorant to what's going on. Doesn't mean that they're dumb people. Doesn't mean that they can't know. They just don't know. And if you try to explain it to them, they're not going to understand it. They're not going to receive it, right? So Fontaine is trying to live his life doing the same things that he was doing with this added knowledge now. You see him trying to lift weights with his homeboys. He's not really into it. You see him in the car with his homeboy and they blasting music and his homeboy going crazy over the music, right? And he just sitting there like, bruh, you just don't know, bruh. You completely ignorant to what's going on right now. And I completely understand how that feels when you chilling with your homeboys or you surrounded by people that just they not hip to the knowledge, bro. They're and when you try to explain it to them, they're not grasping it. They challenge it, right? Which they should if they have a mind to think for themselves. But it's like when you try to tell people something and now you look crazy, right? Because you saying something that sounds very hard to believe unless they actually seen it or experienced it for themselves, right? So that's how this parallels with real life. Like when you acquire some type of knowledge, some type of enlightenment, some type of understanding, and you try to share that with the people around you and they can't accept it, they can't understand it, they can't grasp it, and it's frustrating. And it's even more frustrating because it also depends on who you are as a person. If you're a person that doesn't have all the credibility in the world, right, and you really don't have a solid foundation to stand on, when you try to share knowledge, people are not gonna be so quick to receive it. But say if you're a person with titles and status and you have all of these things and people look up to you, you know, they're quicker to believe what you have to say, even if it's not true, right? Even if it's a bold-faced lie. If you're a person of great status, great influence, if you say something, people will be way quicker to believe it. All right, so in conclusion, my final point is, right, the only way people will start to see things for themselves is if they experience something or they go through something that's completely out of the normal, right? They have to see it for themselves. You can't make people see stuff. You can't make them understand, because all that's going to do is drive a wedge between you and that person. Yeah, but that's all I got to say on that, man. Y'all like the video. LIKE like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all be safe. I'm out.
It's just all division. It's the devil. Whew, it's the devil. Division. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And confuse. So, if you're going to sit there and deal with it, then watch the news. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut that Kim Daily News. Cut that shit, man. Nobody want to watch that shit, bro. This is not a fucking game.
Call the ghost.
Bruh, you recording?